Hunting with a spaniel. What do we do when we correct a dog? We give them about 5 seconds. We check that it worked. And it did. As soon as I peeked that time, she turned much quicker. Come on, Smudge. She's staying much closer. She's kind of almost had that little bollocking, and she's reminded her she's just settled down again. Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. We're going to do a little follow-up video. We did one with Smudge a few months ago before the shooting season. We're now well into the shooting season for her, and yeah, we just need to kind of keep a lid on her. She's pulling a bit. What I mean is trying to hunt too far away from me, and just want to talk about, you know, flushing and how we manage her flushing when we're out rough shooting versus maybe if we were beating or something. Today, instead of filming from Scotland, we've decided to film from Vermont. No, not really. Just we're having a pretty amazing kind of colour of leaves. It's early November and they haven't all been blown away, and the colours are pretty awesome. Like in New England will be as well at the moment. We're going to head off with Smudge down the drive and into one of the fields. One that we don't go in so much when we're doing our videos, but it's kind of kept quieter. We have more game in there. There's a number of resident hares in there, more likely to find a pheasant, and just scent in general. So we're going to head off there and see how she gets on and just talk about it as we go. Heel. So when you start off, when you're training your young spaniel, we haven't talked about it much, because you got to think about the wind. We always want to start, you know, young spaniels, we always want to be hunting them into the wind. If a dog is pulling you and pulling ahead, quite often it's because the wind's at the back of you and they're sort of trying to get out and round to work the wind back to you. So what you've got to remember is a spaniel's not all about just going from left to right in front of you. It's got to be working the wind as well. Smudge doesn't want to work the wind, she's get on with it. So at the moment I can strongly feel the wind on the back of my neck, because I feel like it's a fairly classic, more Craighead westerly prevailing wind, so slightly southwest. So it's coming from over there. So I'm not going to send Smudge off hunting this way, because if I go off this way, she's going to pull further ahead and hunt back. And when I'm trying to keep her closer, what I want is her nose going with a cheek wind, so she's going across the wind like that. She's turning and she's picking up plenty of scent. She doesn't feel the need to pull forward. Then the only time she's going to pull forward is if she actually smells a bit of game ahead of her, and then we can manage that as it comes. Whereas if we're trying to encourage a dog to stay close and we're going with a wind behind us, with a tailwind as it were, they are going to go further out, and then we're in a battle, because naturally that's what they should do, but we're trying to keep them closer. So don't make your life harder. Work with what you're doing. So you've got to think about the wind. I don't think these days enough people do think about the wind. I think people just go, oh, I'm just going out with my dog, and they'll go from left to right. I think especially with cockers, because they are not so easy to get into a sort of pattern like a Springer. They're a bit more kind of all over the place. So you've got to kind of work with the wind a bit more, just to make sure they do a good enough job. So we're not going to hunt from here. We're going to go down there and kind of come back up through this bit of reeds and rushes and hunt her as we go along. Come on, Smudge. So it's quite likely when we get into here, we're going to find something of interest. And even if we don't, we're going to need to use the stop whistle. So it's worth with her, just as we walk towards, while she's still on the lead. Hey, while she's still on the lead and we're walking towards the place that we're going to start training and start hunting her, we want to use this time to train her. And we'll do the best thing to do in this scenario is making sure she's walking to heel, but also practicing the sit whistle. So as I walk the next 100 meters, I'm going to blow that sit whistle a number of times. So the moment I cast her off, she's already done 10, 15, 20 sits on the whistle, even though they're just at my feet. It's kind of got it in her mind. She's thinking, sit whistle, sit whistle, sit whistle, sit whistle. So when I blow the whistle in here, when she's flushing a hare or something, it's not going to be like, oh, I haven't heard that for a while, bugger it, I'm going to ignore it. She's going to be like, oh yeah, sit whistle. I've got to listen to that because I've just been reminded about it. And it's the same with any of us. You know, if you don't do something for a while, you kind of like, oh God, how do I do that? And one of the things I always say to people in lessons is if you think about an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid who's doing times tables a lot, multiplication in their head, that's what they're doing in their maths lessons, they're repeating it on a daily basis, the chances are they're probably better than the rest of us are, who are constantly just using our phones to do it. If we stop, sit down and think about it, we could gain that back again, but we don't, because we're inherently lazy. So the kids are just kind of practicing it on a daily or certainly weekly basis, and they're going to have it more in their mind. So we try and use that sort of philosophy with the dogs, is that if we keep it in at the forefront of their mind, it's much more likely to work. Nothing is set in stone. They are dogs and they screw things up, they don't listen, or we screw things up and we don't listen. But at least we're setting ourselves up to have the best chance. Smudge, heel. Smudge, heel. So the wind's kind of coming slightly across us, but it'll do. It's not the perfect scenario, but it's close enough. Before we hunt her off, we've got to make sure she's looking at us, because this is all about control. Any spaniel's going to run through here and tear around and flush things. We're trying to start her off on control. The fact she's facing that way, I would always send her the other way. So Smudge, gone away, gone away. Never try and race to keep up with your dog. Good girl. Never try and race to keep up with your dog. Always go slowly, allow them to hunt the ground. And if you turn them on the whistle or you recall them, make sure they come all the way back to you. So I'm waiting for her to come all the way back in till she's a few feet away from me before I let her go off again. Now I've just sat her down just to talk to you. She's going quite far ahead. Now, actually from a shooting, beating point of view, it's fine. She's within range, she's no bother. But what we've got to be careful of is if the dog's going too far, what are they going to do when they flush a bird? If they're really good and steady on a flush, we can allow them to go a bit further. If they're prone to kind of moving on a flush or not stopping quickly enough or whatever, then by the time she's down there, she flushes a bird, she moves another 5 yards, she's in the way of the bird. The bird's now 40 yards away. It suddenly becomes a shot that we might not be able to take, and actually hit the bird. Dog's too far away. We've got to let the bird get up and away from the dog. So, much as people might go, oh, but my dog's staying within a zone. When it's on its edges of its zone, is it still in control? Is it going to stop on the flush quick enough? Or do we need to keep them close enough? If we were going to keep them closer, we spend a lot of time backing away. Smudge, run away. Now I'm turning her on the whistle and she's not listening. So if she doesn't listen, I need to get off. When I get after her, she's already on her way back to me because she's heard me coming. Okay, but I make her come all the way back to here. If I actually catch her completely ignoring me, Smudge, I would get hold of her by her scruff and just growl at her, listen. Repeat that turn whistle, encourage her back to me. Okay, so she knows peep means come back. Peep means turn and come back. Got away, got away, run away. So it's putting some pressure on her, but not being like over the top. And then what do we do, Smudge? Smudge? What do we do when we correct a dog? We give them about 5 seconds and we check that it worked. And it did. As soon as I peeped that time, she turned much quicker. Come on, Smudge. She's staying much closer. She's kind of almost had that little bollocking and she's reminded her she's just settled down again. You saw again, I peeped the whistle, I turned her, she turned pretty rapidly, came back. So as soon as I turn her, I'm waiting here and then I'm guiding her into the next bit of cover. I'm not racing forward. Generally, when you're in a beating line, everyone walks too quickly. Even rough shooting people walk too quickly. The dog a chance to hunt and find the birds. Blow that whistle just for no other reason than we can, just to remind her, so we're practicing. I don't want to practice when I need her to, I want to practice in advance. So when she's actually flushed a bird or a hare, and I'm like, oh, I haven't blown that whistle for a while, I'm making assumptions it's going to work. So I don't want to make those assumptions, I want to take them away and get her to stop sooner. So why are we doing this with Smudge? I'm doing this with Smudge. She's had a number of days out rough shooting. She's had a number of days out on shoots in general. And I was rough shooting with her the other day on Saturday, and I had her and Mash, one of our other cockers, running around hunting in front of us. And she was actually pretty good. She was great. She didn't cause me any grief. She did some really nice little flushes of pheasants and of some rabbits. But she's just getting a little bit like, whoa, I'm smudgy big boots. And she's just thinking she knows a little bit more than I do. And she's just trying to get out there and do it on her own a bit. So we're always training. You know, this is a 2.5-year-old dog. She's been out shooting loads. She's been out beating. But we just need to keep that thumb on her, because if we can do that with her at this stage, by the time she's 4, we've just got this dog that's just a dream. She's just out working away. There's no whistles, there's no hassle, because that kind of like young, like, whoa, let's go, has just calmed down enough. But I've still got a great hunting dog. So it's about putting a little bit of pressure, giving her a bit of a bollocking here and there, but also just making sure we still allow her to be a, gone away, allow her to be a spaniel, allow her to hunt, allow her to get on with her job. As soon as she listens, just come back, forgive and forget, and carry on going, okay? And she's just got over her so silly, like, oh, we're going out, and she's just got into a nice little pattern. So those couple of sort of pullings up at the beginning hopefully have paid off, and she's just kind of settling into being a nice little dog. And you can just imagine now, if I had a gun, I'm walking along, I'm watching my dog, she's working away, I don't even have the whistle in my mouth, I'm not engaging with her, I don't need to, because she's reliable. She's just popping in and out of this cover. You can't see her, but she's just about to come out again. She's staying pretty close. It's all pretty easy and pretty reliable. Not so much. Smudge. Now, I'm going to call her out. I'm backing off. Smudge. The reason I'm backing off is kind of force a habit. If I stand up there and whistle, she's like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Whereas if I'm backing away, she can't see me anymore, and she's coming back, looking for me, and making more of an effort to come back to me. It's all about getting the dog to come back to you rather than going to the dog. The 2 times you've seen me going after the dog, I've gone towards the dog to say, hey, you're not listening. As soon as they've reacted, gone, oh shit, here he comes, she starts running back towards me, and I back away all the way back to where I was when I blew that whistle. What you don't want to be doing is chasing your dog into a ditch and then staying down there and carrying on going, because then you've got this push me, pull you kind of effect where you're keeping up with your dog rather than you drawing your dog back to you. Okay, so it's making sure the dog understands they're working for you and not the other way around. Okay, because otherwise she's going in there, she's getting ahead, I'm saying hey, slow down, and she's like I might be with my kids, well, bloody hurry up. They catch up with me and then I'm off again. Any of you guys who've been skiing, it's a kind of pain in the ass. I've got a fast skier, so it's not normally me, but there's that situation where someone's ahead, they ski on, they stop. As soon as everyone at the back who's finding it harder, is tired or whatever, as soon as they catch up, the person at the front's like, woof, we're off again. The people at the back are like, oh God, you got the whole thing the wrong way around. The slow person should be at the front, and the person who's always at the front and too fast should be hanging around at the back, catching up, hanging around, catching up, okay? We don't want to be catching up with the dog like that. We want to be drawing the dog back to us, making sure the dog goes at our pace, the slow person at the back's pace, not just going at their own pace and zooming off into the middle distance. Remember, you get out what you put in. Smudge always puts in a lot of effort. She's a great little dog, and so we get a lot out of her. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.